Times are tough right now. If you are broke, struggling financially, or simply have no idea how to get ahead, this video is for you. Let's talk about it.
The first thing I would invest in are my skill sets. Like, dude, you got to get good at something. But if somebody said to me, what business is best and listen, any business that has something to do with solving people's problems. Why? Because people don't buy products and services, man. They buy solutions. So what business is the best business to get into? The problem-solving business. Start learning to solve problems. Start tackling problems immediately when you see them and stop avoiding them for so long because they just tend to get bigger. If you really want to start a business, man, just look to solve problems. Find problems people are having. Get creative, get innovative, and solve them. Don't worry about anything else other than becoming really good at solving problems. Once you become really good at solving problems, you start a business. Because that's what a business is.
So this is on the income generating side of things. If you guys are stuck in a job where you're not making much money, you don't know how to really advance your career, you don't know how to increase your income to help you get ahead financially, then sometimes maybe the next best step is to start over and start a business. Now there's ways you can do this correctly. You don't want to just go quit your job tomorrow and say, hey, I'm starting a business, let's figure this out. No, you don't want to do that. That's way too big of a risk. But what a lot of people do is they look for a problem that they can solve. And one business that if I was starting something right now over, it would be to start a home servicing type business, a lawn cutting business, power washing, window cleaning business. And if you want to get a little bit more into the trades and you want to go back to school and get your apprenticeship, electrician, plumber, anything that you can advance your knowledge in, learn skills, and then turn around in a few years and apply that to your own business. That is one way, surefire way, that you can make a decent income and a decent career for the rest of your life. Now, if you don't want to go the business route and maybe you want to start over and do something with creating a long-term career, well, that may start with you having to go back to school if you're going to a career that needs schooling. Don't go to school because you're like, I don't know what to do with my life. I need to go get a history degree. No, don't do that. Figure out a degree that is going to advance yourself in your career or to be able to start a brand new career. STEM is a wonderful degree. That's what I got my degree in, is science, math related, those types of degrees, and specifically engineering. That's another great way to get started. Any of those types of jobs where it takes to get into the front door is a little difficult, there's a reason for that. There's a reason why not everyone's doing that, because it's kind of hard to get to that point. It's hard to start your business. It's hard to get an engineering degree. It's hard to become a doctor, a lawyer, or any other specialty like that. Another great route is sales. Sales is another great route for you to get in and start making money, hopefully relatively quickly, if you're good at sales. And if you're not, learn, teach yourself. There are hundreds, if not thousands of videos on the internet and podcasts you can listen to and books you can read on how to advance your sales skills. So starting off on that foot with generating more income, increasing your income, those are maybe some ways to help you get started on that end. But now let's break this down into a little bit better detail.
There's this awkward period between having no money and having some money where you need to be making money, not be spending it. That's how wealth accumulation actually works. But of course, the poverty mindset that I find myself in is wanting to accelerate my standard of living with my accelerated income, which is a fool's errand. But in order to not do that, I have to take the ego check and I have to drive this piece of junk, right? And my emotional self thinks that I'm back in poverty, right? There's a difference between being in poverty as a matter of societal function and being broke by choice. My prefrontal cortex knows that. Inner self is still working on it. But if I'm to actually create any level of wealth, I need to understand that.
Guys, that is so important to understand as an individual. And I think 98% of people fall into this category of what's known as lifestyle creep. As you get a little older, as you start making a little bit more income, you're like, oh, hey, I can step it up a little bit now. Now I can go buy me a nicer truck. Now I can get, my wife and I or spouse and I or whoever into a little bit of a nicer place to live. Honey, we can afford a steak dinner every Friday night. Let's go. That's lifestyle creep. Think about this. Let's say your income continues to increase. And as your income is increasing, your lifestyle's staying relatively the same. Maybe you treat yourself every now and then. That's what my wife and I like to do. But our income has been like this the past 5 years. Up and down, up and down. I have high highs, we have low lows. But for us, we've kept our lifestyle relatively the same. And when we make big purchases, or we're thinking about making big purchases, like for example, I've talked about this before, I still drive my wife's car she got when she graduated high school. It's a 15-year-old car, has coming up on 210,000 miles. I fix stuff when it breaks on it, and that's like my daily driver if the wife is using the SUV. And we chose to do this because we want to keep our lifestyle low. Until then, I'm applying all this extra cash and all this money we're having into investments. And when I say all that extra cash, it's sometimes it's not a lot. Like I said, our income is like this. You got to take the good times with the bad, and that also comes with your finances. Like, things are not always going to go great, but if you plan ahead, then you can get through pretty much anything.
You have to live on less than you make, and you have to have a plan, and you have to be intentional. I meet people that make $30,000 a year that save money. I meet people that make $130,000 a year couldn't save money if they had to. It hasn't got anything to do with the income. It's got to do with you freaking controlling the person in your mirror. It's you deciding, I'm going to be a grown-up. I'm going to be an adult. And that's if you're 52, you're 22, or you're 12. Adults devise a plan and follow it. Children do what feels good. Everybody's all worried about everybody's feelings these days. I'm not worried about your feelings. I make a living hurting your feelings. I don't give a crap about your feelings. Let me tell you what feels good. Not having any dadgum payments, that's what feels good. Having a pile of money in the bank, that feels good. Being wealthy enough to take your eyes off yourself and not be so dad blame self-centered, and actually be generous, where there's some room, some margin in your budget, and you can give money to somebody else that's hurting. That feels good.
Guys, Dave Ramsey is where it started for me. When I got started on my financial journey back in 2016, take that back, 2014, when I graduated college and I started my job, and I quickly figured out I made a wrong decision that I spent the last 5 years of my life working towards. It was a little bit of a heartache for me. It was a big pill to swallow, but luckily I was young. I was 23, 24 years old, and I said, I'm going to figure this out. And Dave Ramsey was one of the first guys I found that got me on this path to being knowledgeable in the finance space. And where I'm at now, I have difference of opinions with Dave on certain things when it comes to, how to manage your finances. But for the most part, if you're someone watching this video right now and you're like, JJ, I'm broke. I'm living paycheck to paycheck. Or worse, I can't even live until I get my paycheck. I'm already in the negative. If that's you and you're struggling right now and you have some massive, massive work to get yourself ahead financially, I first want you to understand this. It's never too late to get started. Like Dave said, if you're 22 or you're 52, you can get ahead financially, but it's got to be you to make the decision, because as I've said before, and I'll say it again, no one's coming to save you. When it comes to your finances, no one's coming to save you. It is up to you to make the decision to spend correctly, to work on generating more income, plan accordingly, be a responsible adult, and don't overspend your money you're making. Live below your means so you have extra cash at the end of the month to get by. That's all dependent on you guys. And if you need help doing that, if you need help structuring yourself on a budget, or you need a way to help tracking paying off your debt, one thing I also really like to recommend is tracking your net worth and where you're at. See if you're at a negative or positive. I have a spreadsheet down below in the description. You can purchase it through the Etsy store, my Etsy store. It's only $25, and it's a template that has a budget tracker, a debt payoff tracker, a net worth tracker. It has a calendar in there where you can type in on different dates and bills are paid and debts are paid and stuff like that. I highly recommend that if you guys have nothing right now to get you started. And again, the link down below in the description, I'll pin a comment for you guys as well. You can purchase that through Etsy. But when you live on a budget, and we're going to talk about that a little bit more in detail here in a second, but I got to say also, Dave Ramsey is perfect for the person that I was talking about. If you're watching this and you know that's you, broke, paycheck to paycheck, or worse than that, Dave Ramsey's teachings are the best for you right now. And we'll dive into exact steps of that here in a second.
So how do people stop being broke? That's a good question. Stop hanging out with broke people. Stop doing and thinking the thoughts that broke people think. Stop making excuses for why you're broke, and stop fighting for your right to be broke. If you really don't want to be broke anymore, you are going to have to educate yourself about money. It's been made really complex, but you have to understand the simplicity of money, that it's flows, how to use money, how to open the flows to money. There's a lot of things that you need to know about investing, about all sorts of things money-wise. You have to look and confront your finances daily. Write it down. What do you want? It's math. Money is math. I hate math until it comes to this. If you want X amount of money, break it down. How do I get there? I need a product at $1,000 that I can sell that would get me to 5 million. How many of those would you need to sell to get there? It's just math.
There's a quote out there that goes something like, your network is your net worth, meaning the people you surround yourself with, your core group. Whatever those people are doing, that tends to rub off on you. So if your group is guys that are, every single year, every 12 months, 24 months, they're upgrading cars, they're buying a new fancy car, they're getting a boat, they're upgrading their living situation, they're going out all the time and it's just spending money wildly. There's no structure, no talks of growth, no talks of growing together as friends. When you don't have those talks with your group, and trust me, I'm not saying every time you get together you have to sit down and be like, okay, what are we investing in today? What are we doing? What's the economy look like? It doesn't have to be like that. Like, go out and have beers with the boys and have fun. But you want to surround yourself with like-minded individuals. And I have people in my life that don't fall into that category that I still hang out with. And I think sometimes people take this a little overboard. I'm not saying to cut ties with everyone in your life who is not successful and not going anywhere. I'm not saying that. I still have great friends in my life that don't really have the drive or the will to get to where I want to go. But that doesn't mean I'm not going to be friends with them. I'm not going to not hang out with them just because of that. We just have difference of opinions when it comes to that part of our life. Now, I have friends and very good close friends of mine that some of them I met recently, and they're where either I want to be at or we're both working towards getting there. And the best thing I can say is when you surround yourself with people that are doing better than you financially, that is one of the most motivating things you can do for yourself, is you constantly see your close friends, what they're doing. And I'm not talking about getting better financially, meaning all your buddies have, the nicest cars and one's driving the Lambo that's leased and the next guy's got this big fancy mansion that he can't afford to do anything else because he's got to pay his mortgage. I'm not talking about that type of success. I'm talking about success of guys who have millions of dollars invested in real estate. I'm talking about guys who've built multiple businesses and have sold them for a profit. I'm talking about guys who are just overall successful hustlers and killing it and want to grow both financially but also as a good human on this earth. When you can find those types of people and make friendships and relationships with them, I'm telling you, your life will change forever. Now, it's not going to happen overnight, guys. I've been on the hunt to find people like this to put in my life and to become friends with for years. And it's not like every time I'm out, I'm looking for, are you successful? No, that's not what I'm talking about. Like, there's certain things you can do. You can go to real estate meetups if you're looking to invest in real estate. There's other types of meetups out there that you can get into. There's communities locally here online you can put yourself into and connect with people like that. You can be talking to people. If you live in a smaller town area, there may not be many people who think like that. So you can resort to communities online, Facebook groups, stuff like that. Like, get in there. The FIRE community is a great community to surround yourself with people with. But that's a very important piece of this puzzle when it comes to who you surround yourself with and bettering your finances, is because you also get to figure out what people are doing. But you got to be careful you're not listening to the wrong person either. And that's where it comes up to you to teach yourself the ways of how money works and how to plan accordingly and be responsible with your finances.
I looked at it as I have an ATM between my legs and I'm just using it. All I got to do is put my card in and that's it. And put the PIN number and boom, money just comes right out.
Well, shit. I've been doing it wrong this whole time.
Top 5 ways to avoid going broke. Number 1, learn how to live on a budget. Number 2, avoid friends who are going nowhere fast. You don't need to be around those people. They're draining your pockets. Number 3, learn what is an asset versus what is a liability. A lot of y'all are buying way too many liabilities. Number 4, pay off all consumer debt. This should be number 1, really. You need to get rid of all of that credit card debt and any debt that's in your way, first and foremost. Number 5, learn an income producing skill. Stop believing everything in social media where you could just kick back and, oh, it's a perfect world and I'm just going to get paid. Just say, no, man. You need to get a skill that's going to get you paid. Whatever it may be, make sure you enjoy it though.
I like that. I mean, that guy was spot on. All 5 of those things. If you work on improving your knowledge in all 5 of those things and you actually work towards getting to those, I can almost guarantee you a year from now, 12 months from now, your financial foundation will be completely different. But you guys have to understand that it has to be a decision made. Like, for example, me, I would love to have a shredded 6-pack for my wife, but I also love smoking meat, drinking beer when I'm watching football, and, the occasional junk food. But I still go work out. I still go on runs. So I find my happy medium. I know what I want to do. Now, will I ever work towards that 6-pack? Maybe. I don't know. Probably. I don't know. But I still find time to focus on my health. I make sure I'm balancing them correctly, and I'm always trying to improve my overall fitness and the way I look physically. That's something that's just important to me. My health is important to me. So the same thing applies when you're on your finances. You always need to make those conscious decisions whenever you are planning something financially. Even whenever my wife and I are going out to eat together. Unless it's like a date night, we're planning and strategically looking how we're going to spend money. All right, the kids, my daughter's going to split with my son, or my daughter and my wife are going to eat the same meal and they're just going to split it. And that's just a whole nother head we don't have to pay for when we go to dinner. And just little things like that, little examples are things that we every single day are talking about or thinking about. My wife and I also will sit down at night when the kids are in bed and we'll talk about goals. What our life wants to look like in 5 or 10 years. What we want to do financially. Do we want to be able to have work as like an optional thing where if my wife and I want to take a month or 2 off when we're 45, 46 years old, so 10, 12 years from now, and go backpack Europe because the kids are away at college and we have the time to do that, that's what we want to do. I mean, that is legit one of our goals. That's one of our goals. We talk about it all the time. Now, we still want to travel with the kids as we grow older together. We want to take family trips and everything, but my wife and I also want to travel together when we know that time is coming a long way from now, but coming up also fast because I can't believe I already have a 7-year-old and a 4-year-old. But talks like that is motivating. It gets you excited and say, hey, when you do the net worth update, I do that myself and then I just kind of share it with my wife on where we're at. I'm like, hey, we're at this number this month. It's pretty exciting because it's the highest it's ever been. So little things like that, like you just have to, it's almost like a full lifestyle change whenever you go to have this change on your money. And if you don't have your spouse on board, that is very hard to do. And a quick tip I can give you on that is give your wife or your husband, whoever the one you're going to have trouble with, don't take everything away from them. Don't. First, talk about what the end goal is. Show them what life could look like if they choose to go on this route with you of bettering your finances. Saying, hey, babe, you know how we're stressed every single week because we can't afford this bill, or every single month because we're waiting on the paycheck to get here? What would it be like to have money in the bank for the rest of our lives and know that we can cover any bill that comes our way? To know that stress is gone. We don't have to worry about a bill that shows up randomly in the mailbox and we are not sure how we're going to be able to afford it. How would it feel like to live a life where you don't ever have to worry about that stress again? And then what I mean by saying don't take everything away from them. If your wife loves Starbucks or loves going out to get coffee every now and then, you guys need to come to a conclusion and allot a certain amount of money for her to go do that. If the husband is a gas station eater, all my blue collar boys out there, you know what I'm talking about. If you go to the gas station every single morning and your husband loves to do that, don't take that away from him. Put it in the budget. Plan accordingly how much he can spend every single day at the gas station, or maybe take a day away or something like that and let him have that. And then everything else, you guys come together on and figure out, okay, how are we going to attack this? There's ways to do that. And one of the best ways to do that is known as the baby steps. And this is Dave Ramsey's 7 baby steps. And it is basically a plan outlined for you to become better with your money and for you to better manage your money. So let's go over those baby steps right now and really think about this, because if you can follow these baby steps, I promise you, if you follow them to a T, your financial life will be 100 times better as you start on this journey.
Baby step 1, save $1,000. Baby step 2, get out of debt, everything but your house, using the debt snowball. Baby step 3, save 3 to 6 months of expenses for a fully funded emergency fund. Baby step 4, invest 15% of your household income into retirement. Baby step 5, start saving for kids' college. Baby step 6, pay off your house. Baby step 7, nothing left to do now but become very wealthy and outrageously generous. This is the plan that 10 million people have used to get straightened up.
Seems pretty simple, right? First, get $1,000 saved. Save up $1,000 in your account. That's a pretty easy goal. Get that done. If you're by yourself or you're married, you and your spouse, do this together. Have it on the fridge. Baby step 1, boom, doing this first. Saving $1,000 in cash in our savings account. Check it off the list. Done. Second, now we're attacking our debt. Everything but the house. Attack the debt. Organize those debts by the smallest amount to the largest amount, and attack the smallest amount first. What this does is this gets you motivated. Maybe you have a $1,000 credit card that you've been waiting to pay off, and you can pay that off in a couple weeks. Pay off that credit card, boom, that's one of your debts gone. Whatever that minimum payment that was going towards that $1,000 credit card bill every single month, well, that's now a raise you got at the end of the month because it's no longer going to that debt payment. And move that one to the next debt payment. Maybe it's a car. You have $10,000 loan on a car you're waiting to pay off. Take all that extra money you have from creating a budget, boom, put it towards the car payment. Once that's done, move on to the next one and the next one. And keep doing that until you can cross off and check off each one of these baby steps. And if you guys follow these, and you'll learn different things along the way of what applies to you, what works better for you. But if you follow these baby steps to a T, I promise you, your financial foundation will be better off and you'll no longer have to live a broke life.